Welcome to Stova.
Strategic meetings management allows you to consolidate meeting data to deliver real-time insights that drive savings and reduce risk on meetings and events within your organization, bringing everything into a centralized portal to give you insight and oversight into all of those different meetings. Today, I'm going to walk you through a quick demo of some of the tools that are involved with our strategic meetings management and how you may be able to utilize them to capture that meeting information and help you work those events through the life cycle. In this video here, we're going to take a look at a couple of different things. The first thing you're seeing on my page right now is going to be an example of our meeting request portal. You can have different tabs and information available to make this process easy for any of the people within your organization that are going to be requesting or hosting a meeting. This is going to be that initial process that they fill out this form to provide information to the centralized team and centralized platform so that you can have that insight and oversight into all those different meetings. The great thing about this tool is it is completely configurable for your organization, depending on how you want to classify your different meetings, the information that you need to capture, and what you want this form to look like. You'll notice right now it's a pretty simple form. It's got one page worth of information here with some different questions about what the type is, who the audience is, how is the meeting going to take place, when is it going to take place, all of these kind of important bits of information that you're going to need, not only for reporting purposes, but to help work this event through the life cycle within your organization. Now, based off of how this form is being filled out, the form can then have conditional logic to make it more extensive or be done when they've filled out this basic details. And you'll see that as part of the process here. Once we click proceed, now you'll notice that there's actually 5 or 6 additional pages, and that's because we chose a flagship event that's a hybrid style event that is going to need a hotel room block. And that's why we have a question like this, where we can see that hotel room block and be able to provide those details as a part of this meeting request form and put in our estimates of the different room types that we're going to need and the different amounts. Now, one other great thing about this tool is the fact that that data that we're entering right now is also going to be able to be used in other parts of the platform. So that room block that we just filled out can be used in the sourcing tool when we move into that process next. All of these event details about business unit, event type, location, date, time, all of that can come into the event itself so that we don't have to rekey and retype this information while we're moving it through that life cycle. Once again, these are just examples to show you how you can capture information depending on what you need as part of your process for reporting, for using it in those other parts of the platform, and also for your approval and routing processes. So who should be involved in this? Who should have communications? Are there approval processes needed? And who needs to get those approvals based off of that information? Size of the meeting, type of the meeting, department, division, location, all of these things can impact those rules. One last thing I did want to talk about is this budget item right here, and this is going to be a mini budget tool that can be a part of that request form, where I can put in different budgetary information and then select different categories to make sure that that data is consistent across all of your request forms and all of your events. This information can then be transported right into the budget and can be used as that preliminary budget or that starting point, and then you can progress that through as the event progresses through the life cycle into your actuals, your workings, your final numbers, whatever your different stages are there. That budget will be able to be tracked along the way and see where those differences happen. Now that we've completed that meeting request form here, that has been submitted, and what we're going to take a look at next is that admin view. So I'm the admin that's in charge of this type of meeting. I got an email that says, hey, Nick, there's a new request for you to take a look at and start working this event. I grab that ID, I go into the system, and then I would simply bring that ID up, and that's what you're seeing on the screen here. As I am an admin looking at this, I can see all the information about that request, who the requester is, if I need to communicate with them, if I need to print that info, or if I need to jump to a calendar to see all of the events within the organization. All of that is right here at my fingertips. You'll also notice all these different stages that I was just highlighting, and that allows me to track this event throughout the life cycle and see how much time is being spent at each different stage so that I know the areas that are going to take longer and the areas that are quicker, and giving me that insight into our planning processes and all of those different things that happen as a part of that life cycle. You can also trigger communications out to different individuals at those stages, and those individuals can be assigned like you're seeing on my screen right now. You'll see these different resources, and based on the resource type, it'll show you a different list of resources or people available, and then you can even go as far as assigning them to the event or assigning them specific tasks with due dates, and they can track the progress associated with that. So it has a little bit of that kind of task management or admin management with assigning resources all baked into that meeting request form itself. If you are running approval processes, you can also manage that and see that from the admin side here. Those approvers will get emails. They can come in and fill out their form. Once they do, it will be marked as approved or not, depending on what happens there. And you can also deal with proxies and different stages of that approval if you need to. You'll also always be able to see all of the different information and notes associated with this and make any edits that you need to. The final step that we're going to walk you through here is going to be how to move this into kind of the next step in that life cycle, whether that be creating an event, because maybe it's just a virtual event that I need to put together very quickly. No problem. But in this example, we're going to actually go into our sourcing process. It's going to allow me to select where I want this to live as far as folders, and that's to do with permissions. And then it's going to allow me to either start a new one or use a template that I've created and allow me to port the information from the meeting request form into that template to make my life easier while I'm going through that sourcing process. I can also create the event right now if I want to, or I can wait until after the sourcing process and create it from within that sourcing tool. Let's go ahead and take a look at our sourcing process next. And that's what we're jumping into here. So it created it, it linked it, and now it's putting in all that information. And now you'll see I have a basically filled out form for me. I just need to change and update the information depending on my request. Do I need sleeping rooms? Do I need meeting space? Do I need both? Is it a single property? Is it a multi-property type of event? All of these are just different options that can be configured within the platform to meet the needs and let the hotels know what your requirements are. You also have some quick access information like a calendar right here that allows you to see all of the events that are happening within your organization, whether that be ones that have gone through the request process, maybe we're not quite in the sourcing or event process yet, or ones that have done sourcing, or ones that actually have events and registration forms built, or maybe even live or active there. Just going to jump back to the RFP here. We also have another calendar that allows you to see holidays. So if you're dealing with international events and participants coming in from multiple different countries, you just simply select the countries and then it'll highlight those different holidays, because I sure don't know all of the holidays in Brazil, for example, here, but this tool lets you see that just to make sure that you're not booking over major holidays and making those participants less likely to attend. You then see a room block at the bottom there where you're specifying the different room types that you need. This is going to be where you define your meeting space needs. You can import an agenda if you want to attach a file instead, or you can use our handy drag and drop editor here to let those properties know what type of meeting space you're going to need. The top row is all meeting space needs, exhibit booths, registration desks, speaker rooms, whatever you may need. And that green bar, or the second bar there, is going to be your food and beverage needs. You just simply click and drag it down onto the different days that you want. And for each thing that you add, you'll be able to set up the different room setups there. How many people are going to be in there? Do you want it on all days? Do you have special requests? And you can leave those comments within the platform. You can also do things like 24-hour holds, but this is a drag and drop tool, so you can move things around or adjust times based on what you need. Once you've defined all those meeting space needs here, you can certainly move on to the next step, which is going to be our concessions and special requests. This is where you can define at an account level, at a user level, or at a template level, all of the different things that you need to make sure the hotels are reviewing and providing you some response to it. Now you can lock these at an account level, or you can make them editable here, just depending on how you want to enforce those policies as part of your organization. The hotels will respond with a yes, no, or alternative, and a monetary value associated with these if there is a monetary value for the question that you asked. That way you can track those type of things as cost savings or cost avoidances and as part of our reporting. Here you'll get into the actual search functionality where I get to type in the location or the cities that I want to search, and then it'll bring back a list of all those different properties. We have over 225,000 venues worldwide in our database, so if there's a property that you've been to, it's most likely in our database. If there's one that's not, we can certainly add that into the database as well. You'll notice in our tool here that you have a side-by-side. You can also go full map view or full list view if you want to. But as I hover over these different properties, you'll notice them bouncing around on the map there. Vice versa, if I click on the map, it'll show me those in the list. I can filter these properties to make sure that I'm seeing only the ones that are going to be appropriate for me, different star ratings, different amenities, things like that, as well as internal feedback. So the more you use the tool, the more information you're going to have in the platform about what you've done with these properties and how your experiences are. You can even see ones that you've operated, booked, or currently in shortlist or in negotiations on, or have available credits with. All of these things, including preferred and memberships, can be tracked as part of the system to ensure that all of the information about the properties that you're working with is in the platform and available for you while you're going through the RFPs in here. As I add the different properties, I can certainly click into those different options and see all the information, as well as see a side-by-side comparison here, where I can view all of that info in a side-by-side grid, and maybe add or remove different properties, just depending on what my options are. I move into the final step here, and this is going to be where it allows me to make sure that my GSOs, my NSOs, my hotel representatives, and anyone else that I want to be copied in on this RFP, to make sure that they're included on this RFP when I send it out. And that way you're not losing those relationships, you're just simply using a tool to help facilitate that interaction. Now let's take a look at what it looks like when you get those bids back. So here's a list of my RFPs that I've sent out. You can see all the information about how many RFPs were sent, how many bids came back, how many are waiting, declined, shortlist, all that fun stuff in that overview. But then you can click into it and see a side-by-side comparison here. I can hide or decline any property that I don't want based on their response. I can also communicate directly with the properties as part of the tool. I can even request contracts when I'm ready, and any of that kind of negotiation that happens will be automatically tracked in the tool. So anytime they adjust the bid, you'll be able to track that bid from the first bid to any updated bid and see the differences as part of it. You will also be able to see that side-by-side comparison of room rates, meeting costs, total meeting costs, concessions, questions. All of those things are going to be a part of this grid here as well. So you can see some of these were accepted, some of these were not, some of them have a monetary value, some don't, but all of that's being tracked in the reporting part of the platform for you. We do also have a number of different views, whether you want to see kind of the side-by-side concessions or questions in a grid. That way you're just seeing those areas. We also have exports, and these are fully formatted Excel documents. We have read-only links that allow you to share this view with external audiences. And we even have a feedback mechanism where I can add individuals. They can give me their feedback about which property they want and why, and I can use that in my decision-making process. So maybe I need to involve the C-level executives. I can easily do that. When I'm ready, I can confirm that booking and deal with all the contracting in the hotels, and that can be facilitated through the tool as well, so there's a copy in the platform. When I'm done, I can also create the event if I want, and what we're looking at right now is creating the budget. So all that information that we just captured through the sourcing, through the meeting requests, can all be ported directly into this budgeting tool here, where then I can also make some additional data points if I want to about event types, divisions, business units, or any other information that may be helpful in your reporting. I can tag those venues, I can manage multiple currencies as part of the budgeting tool here. But really where the main part of the budget is going to be is these different tabs that you see on my screen right now. This allows you to track up to 5 different points in time as part of your budget. So your starting budget, your approved, your negotiated, your working, your finals, and it allows you to compare those along the way. In each of the different budgets, you'll be able to create, or you'll see a section for revenue, expenses, and savings. In each of those areas, you can create the different line items, either one at a time or via an import, and put in all the information that you need about the line item itself. So different categories, names, types, how many attendees, quantities. You can even tie this to registration. So as people pick certain items, it can tick numbers up in your revenue based off of that ticket type or that add-on, or maybe it's a cost associated with a meal. Well, all of these things can be tied directly to registration so that you're getting accurate counts based on who signed up for what as part of that registration form. You'll also be able to take any of these and copy them into the next stage of the budget, so that way you don't have to rekey, re-enter, or re-import these bits of information, and you can just simply progress them through that life cycle and then lock those previous stages of the budget, so that way you have that kind of point in time saved. You can also track things like vendors, cost centers, and payments as a part of this as well. So just depending on the level of information that you want around your budgetary line items, whether that be expenses, revenues, or cost savings and avoidances, you can track these in different ways to make sure that you have that different reporting across, not only for a single event, but also across multiple events to be able to see where your spend is and where your highest costs are. As I mentioned, you can also track those savings, and you can track these in a number of different ways, whether they're comps, savings, different categories, avoidances, but it allows you to track them once again for reporting so you can kind of see how they work and across multiple events, as well as across multiple different vendors that you're utilizing. Next, we're going to take a look at a comparison here. So this is just showing you that you have the different stages there, but what we're going to do is jump into that final one, which is the forecast summary here, and this allows us to compare multiple stages of the budget. So you'll see approved, working, actual, forecast, and then the approved versus the forecast. I can see this by category or budget, so by the different categories that I've included in my budget, and those will be standardized at an account level. Or if I wanted to see this at a vendor level, I could also toggle that the other way and see all my spend by vendor. You'll notice it breaks it up by different category there in our savings, revenues, and you can even see in multiple different currencies. So if you have some invoices in one currency, you can actually just toggle. It'll convert everything into that currency, or you can add a line item in that currency and then convert back. So you can view that budget in any different currency that you've set up as long as you've got those proper exchange rates in there. As I mentioned, you can also export that data, and this is just showing you that you can change which ones you're viewing. That gives us a high-level overview of our strategic meetings management. Hopefully you saw the value in there of how this can help standardize the processes for you, enforce some of those policies, ensure that every bit of information about your event is captured throughout that entire life cycle from start to finish, and we can certainly show you some other parts of the platform if you'd like. Let's jump back to our main screen here so we can take a look at some of the next products. Let's jump into event marketing next. With our tool, you'll have a number of different ways that we can help with event marketing, just depending on what you're looking for as part of your events.